Hi, today I'm going to show you the undiscovered techno monster that is the Eowave Quadrantid Swarm. I've discovered that the Quadrantid Swarm, I think, is genuinely an undiscovered gem. This thing is an absolute techno machine, and I don't think it's been quite discovered yet. I hope that this video might change some of that. So, the Swarm is a digital oscillator that can be polyphonic. It can be either monophonic or play up to 8 notes. And that is strapped into 2 gnarly analog filters. One that can be switched high and low pass, one which is always low pass. And then you have an 8-step sequencer, and you can change the steps, and you can touch pads and play the notes if you wish. Especially if it's in polyphonic mode, you have to play the little pads. But the Swarm also has MIDI, and you can MIDI play the Swarm like a sound module, and you can also MIDI clock it, and you can also send MIDI CCs to adjust the digital parameters. In terms of modulation though, we have an AR attack release or AD generator, depending on how you set it up. And we have an LFO with a bunch of different shapes. There are little patch points so I can apply modulation throughout the synth. But also there is preset routing, so things move into things. There's like a basic default patch. And it comes in a standalone box, and you can actually take it out of this box and put it into a Eurorack module as well. Finally, there's spring reverb built in. There is a real actual spring reverb inside the thing. You can also do feedback internally with it, but what we will do in this video is we will be using the FX Aid for a bit of extra delay, just to kind of pad out and, expand it even further. It just sounds great. I recently had the honour of a 2-hour chat with Mr. Anthony Child, and Tony is a huge proponent of less being more when it comes to playing live. If you have less stuff that you are more in control of, you'll have a better time than just bringing loads of stuff, thinking that having loads of things will kind of cover your bum when you're in a fix. Often the opposite is true, and I want this video to have a secondary aim of expressing that. Now, how do we make it make music? There's a few different ways you can play it. One, you can just hit these little pads. Note that it's playing not a scale, but the notes that you have selected on the little knobs. Meaning that you can program your own little scale and play it. If you play it monophonically, you can just hit the pads. If I hold shift and then this button here, that engages poly mode. Now I can play up to 8 notes of the digital oscillator. And of course, if you connect a keyboard, you can play it that way. So it is paraphonic, I should say. I mean, it's playing the notes polyphonically, and there are individual VCAs just to turn the notes on and off. But yeah, they all go through the same filters. However, if I want to play a sequence, you hit start. I'm clocking it from the various bits here, so it's receiving an analog clock, and I can turn notes on. So, what you're hearing, digital oscillator, and there are a few different controls for the oscillator. There is a spread control that spreads the 8 oscillators that the different oscillator modes are made out of. Then there is a character control, which does different things depending on which oscillator you have selected. Wait, what? What do you mean which oscillator? If you see, it will be very hard to see, so I'll tell you. At the bottom, each pad has a name: organ, strings, drone, reed, metal, chiptune, grains, and noise. By holding shift, one of these has been picked. They're different digital oscillator modes that it has. So there's kind of 8 different types of digital oscillator, each which will give you different sounds when you adjust the spread, and will do different things when you push character. Then there's this perk, which is an extra kind of percussive sound that you can blend in. Up here is a mixer. That's the digital voice. I can turn it right down. That's the percussion component. And then there is also an input. You can feed other things into this, so you could feed other oscillators and stuff into the voice. But by default, it's feedback for the spring reverb. So you can make the spring reverb feed back on itself. So as you start to mess around with the Swarm, start to find like these funky little like riffs. We can always adjust the character, which is like the most instant satisfying change, and it's just one knob. Bit of stereo delay there, but I'll put the reverb on. It's also a funky little bastard. I'm having so much fun with this. What a great job, eh? So now, the filters. Listen to that. So it's got these two analog filters, which are two 12 dB per octave. They're really gnarly. So if I open up the second one, and they're running in series, so you've got two of them together and you can compound them. And obviously if you have one in high pass and the other in low pass, then you can get kind of MS-20 style, like sort of gnarly bandpass things going on. So there's two knobs here which control modulation of those filters. And on the left one, by default, it is modulated by the attack release generator, which is triggering every time there is a lit sort of pad. Interestingly, with the attack release and envelope generator, if you turn up the attack, it will always complete a full cycle. So you get these like wonderful like dives and sweeps, even though it's being re-triggered. That's pretty good. Huh. Yeah, the spring reverb really doing it. That's with no spring. Of course, we've got all these different modes. So I'm only using drone at the moment. That's metal. So much to explore, but very simple. Like, yeah, there's like 8 modes, but there's only like 2 knobs, and so it doesn't become overwhelming. So what I've discovered with the Swarm is just that flexibility. Like, it's ludicrously flexible. It's perfect because obviously, yeah, you might want some delay to pad it out and stuff, but if you just want something that will take you to lots and lots of different places in a very economical way, i.e. very few button pushes and knob turns, this is very good. It's very good. And something that really like takes you to that atonal proper techno place, whatever that term means. Can't put techno in a box. Don't do that. What I can do, the default routing is LFO to the filter. So I'll turn that up, and now here's the LFO. There's different modes. There's sample and hold. And there's slew. There is a sequencer mode here. What that's doing is it's allowing the LFO to output the sequencer steps. So if you wanted to use the Swarm to control something else as a step sequencer, that is possible. Ooh. Huh. So that is grains. Goodness gracious. Oh my god. Really wicked. This is where, like Tony, I wish I had a looper. Loop that as just like a weird atonal bed, and then flip the mode into something else, build something more like bassy and beefy out. Like that. Which you could then blend with what you just did. My kingdom for a looper. You may say, there's no, this is just an 8-step sequence, how do I change the length? It's modular, my dear, so we've got a reset input. So what I did was I just fed the second output of the 4MS quad clock distributor. So I've got a musically related clock, which I can increase its speed. We're off to the races. Blend in the percussive element. Ah. Oh, that's wicked. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. This is really good. This is really good. You really should get one of these. I genuinely believe that. And I will tell anyone that. Put it on my gravestone. It's wicked. Makes a pretty intense bass line, if you ask it to. That's just percussion. Yeah. It's not all techno. It can make nice sounds. Wicked. Good times. Ace. Yeah.